For 2 years, I dedicated myself to nurturing my stepdaughter, convinced I was her father in every way that mattered. Then, one evening, she looked at me and declared, "You're just the guy who looked after me. You're not my actual dad." My fiancé took her side, so I stepped back, severed my support, and left the relationship behind. When I first met Claire, she exuded vibrancy, intelligence, and fervor. Both of us in our late 30s, I had built a career as a tech consultant from the ground up, while she balanced her role as a nurse and single mother to her 14-year-old daughter, Lily. From the start, Claire was upfront. Lily's biological father had disappeared when she was a toddler. "You'd be the only real father figure she's ever known," she said. Those words struck a chord deep within me. For the first time, I wasn't just shaping a professional path, I was building a family. I purchased a house in an excellent school district, covered the cost of Lily's extracurricular classes, and whisked them away on weekend getaways and amusement park adventures. At every school function, I was there, proudly cheering from the front row. Though Claire and I weren't wed, my devotion was unwavering. Every dollar I invested felt like a cornerstone of our shared future. When Lily started calling me dad, it nearly brought me to tears. But as Lily's 16th birthday approached, something changed. She became distant, dismissing me with a cold shoulder. When I inquired about her school day, she'd give a half-hearted shrug. When I brought up her curfew, she'd roll her eyes in defiance. One night, she came home long after midnight. I sat on the living room couch, my heart racing with concern. "Where were you?" I asked, striving to keep my tone even. She scoffed. "You're not my real dad. You don't get to tell me what to do." Claire entered the room behind her and, instead of backing me up, softly said, "She's just going through a phase." That night, sleep escaped me. By morning, I began noticing things I'd previously overlooked. Claire had reduced her nursing hours, casually remarking, "You make enough for all of us now." The car I'd bought for the family had become her personal ride. And Lily? Her appreciation had turned into expectation. Instead of gratitude for a new phone, she'd grumble, "Why isn't this the newest version?" 2 months later, everything fell apart. I caught Lily sneaking out at M, the smell of alcohol clinging to her. I brought her inside, sat her down at the kitchen table, and said firmly, "This behavior ends now. You're not ruining your future. You're grounded." She exploded. "You can't ground me. You're not my father. You're just the guy who foots the bill." Her words stung like a slap. I looked to Claire, hoping for support. Instead, she shrugged and said, "She's not entirely wrong, Nathan. You're not her biological father." I stood there, stunned. "So that's all I am to you too? A bank account?" Claire sighed. "Don't turn this into a soap opera." That was the moment I made my decision. No yelling, no outburst. They expected me to lose my temper. Instead, I offered a calm smile and began plotting my departure, not with rage, but with deliberate precision. That weekend, while they were out spending my money, I took decisive steps. I accessed our joint accounts and closed the college savings I'd set up for Lily. I removed Claire as a beneficiary from my insurance and retirement plans. I contacted my lawyer to amend my will. The house, I'd purchased it alone her name, was never on the title. I canceled the credit card Claire used for household expenses and froze the emergency fund. Then I waited. First, the internet was cut off. Then the electricity bill went unpaid. The car was repossessed soon after. Claire stormed into the house, slamming the door. "Nathan, what's going on? Everything's falling apart." I leaned back in my chair. "I stopped paying." Her eyes widened in disbelief. "What do you mean, you stopped paying?" I shrugged. "You both said I'm just the guy who pays. So I stopped." She called me vindictive. "No," I replied evenly. "I'm done." That night, Claire begged for a discussion. Tears streamed down her face as she insisted Lily was just acting out, that we were still a family. I slid a folder across the table. Inside was every receipt, every bank statement, every tuition payment, every gift, every vacation cost 78 for 9-2. Over 2 years. "If I'm just the guy who pays, here's the invoice for your time," she gasped. "You can't put a price on love." I met her gaze. "It wasn't love, Claire. Love requires respect. You offered me pity. Lily gave me contempt. Then I struck deeper. You said Lily's father walked out. Now I understand why. That weekend, I moved out, leaving them the basics: couch, fridge, microwave, and took everything else I'd paid for." A month later, Claire called. They'd been evicted. Lily had to change schools. She had the nerve to ask if I'd help, just for a bit. I told her I'd met someone new, someone who valued me for myself, not my wallet. She hung up. A week later, she posted online, claiming some men can't handle strong women or rebellious teens. My friends forwarded me the post. I laughed quietly. A year passed. I bought a lakeside cabin and met a woman kind, down to earth, with no hidden motives. She had no kids, no expectations, just a quiet warmth. Sometimes I think of Claire and Lily, but I don't reach out. Revenge doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's the silent absence of the man who gave everything and now gives nothing. 2 months after they were gone, life felt peaceful. I'd redecorated the house, cleared out their belongings, and erased every trace of them. But just when I thought it was over, Claire reappeared not with calls or texts, but with a letter from the state's child support office. She'd filed a claim, arguing I'd acted as Lily's father long enough to owe support. Despite her insistence I wasn't her real dad. I stared at the documents, then called my lawyer. "Is this legitimate?" I asked. He sighed. "It's real. She's pushing for de facto parentage, claiming you took on a fatherly role long enough to be legally responsible. But you never adopted Lily, and you weren't married. That's your advantage. You'll need to fight this, and you'll need to win decisively." In court, Claire looked exhausted but played the victim. She claimed I'd abandoned them, strung them along, acted as Lily's father in every way except biology. The judge turned to me. "Mr. Carter, do you consider yourself this child's father?" I stood tall. I did, until she made it clear I was just a source of money. I have no legal or biological connection, and they never allowed me a true role in her upbringing. They used me when it was convenient. I handed over a flash drive and a folder filled with evidence. Lily's texts calling me the guy who paid for everything, a recording of Claire saying I had no parental rights, and financial records proving they never contributed a cent. The judge reviewed it and turned to Claire. "You're seeking support from a man your daughter rejected and you dismissed as a non-parent. You want the benefits of a father and husband without the commitment." Petition denied. Claire broke down, sobbing, shouting at the judge. "He promised to take care of us." The judge interrupted. "Promises aren't contracts. You treated him like a bank, not a parent. You created this outcome. It didn't end there." Claire's online posts turned into rants. She labeled me a deadbeat, claimed I'd used them to inflate my ego. I stayed silent, but others didn't. One of her friends commented, "You told us he was just your meal ticket. Guess he finally left." Another wrote, "You taught Lily that money equals love. Now you're shocked the money's gone." Weeks later, Claire appeared at my office, unannounced, tears in her eyes, holding an envelope. "Can we talk?" 5 minutes. I sighed. "You get 3. She sat trembling. I was scared. "You did so much for us, and I didn't know how to balance gratitude with independence." Lily didn't mean what she said. She's just a kid. She handed me the envelope. Inside were photos of Lily at her new school, looking withdrawn, joyless. Claire was tugging at my emotions. I thought maybe we could try again, as a family. I looked at her. "You didn't lose me because of Lily's words. You lost me because you agreed with them. I gave you 2 years of my heart, not just my money. You discarded me when I stopped being useful. Now you want me back because life's hard. I was never your partner, I was your fallback." She sobbed. "I'm sorry. I messed up. Can we have another chance?" I stood and opened the door. "You used your last chance months ago. You just didn't hear it shut." That week, I launched a new tech consulting firm. It took off rapidly, securing a major corporate contract within 4 months. I was traveling, thriving, feeling alive again. I met Sarah, a woman with no baggage, no hidden agendas. She didn't care about my earnings, she asked about my dreams. We clicked instantly. Meanwhile, someone sent me a screenshot of a crowdfunding page Claire had started, titled "Single Mom Struggling After Financial Abandonment." She was asking for $15,000 to keep Lily in school. The comments were brutal. "Didn't you brag about your fiancé covering everything? And choices have consequences." I didn't contribute, but I smiled. Revenge isn't always loud. Mine was delivered with receipts, court rulings, and silence. I didn't raise my voice, I raised my standards. And they were never invited to meet them again.